Hi, my name is Alfredo Cardoso Rivera. Today I'm going to be talking about how is language composed. Let's start with, first of all, I'm going to define what language is in terms of linguistics. Language is the source of human life and power. It is how humans communicate. It is the source of human life and power. To others, a newborn is a thing, not yet a person. According to African tradition, all we are humans because we all know at least one language. Now the question is language acquired or learned? For that, we have different theories from Piaget, Chomsky, Krashen, and Vygotsky. Piaget tells us that children adapt to the environment using assimilation and accommodation. What is assimilation and accommodation? Well, it is a process in which a person has an existing or previous idea of an object or situation, and then a new object or situation is introduced and is accommodated in change or changed. Piaget has a theory of knowledge development in human organism. Now, Chomsky tells us that children learn grammar that generates an infinity of new sentences. He says that language is reduced to its grammar. Krashen tells us about a monitor model theory, which has five hypotheses. The first one being acquisition learning hypothesis, where language is acquired and needs of no attention to form, in other words, naturally or unconsciously, and also language can be learned unconsciously. Second, the monitor hypothesis, when acquisition is more important because teaching a language is to focus on communication rather than on its rules. The third, the natural order hypothesis. Here, rules are acquired in a predictable sequence. The fourth, the input hypothesis. Here, language is acquired in one way by receiving comprehensible input. The last one, effective filter hypothesis. This hypothesis is just an imaginary barrier. Vygotsky tells us in his theory about the proximal development zone, where teacher and students share roles in language acquisition. The teacher acts as the monitor, mediator, and transmitter of language to the students. Students are active in the proximal development zone according to Vygotsky. Now, knowing a little about the theories, let's talk about some of the properties of language. We have displacement, which enables us to refer to past and future time and to other locations which other beings cannot do. Arbitrariness, where here there are no natural connection between a linguistic form or its sound and its meaning, the concept. Productivity, it is a feature of all languages that words are continuously being created. Cultural transmission, process where language is passed from one generation to another but not from parental genes. Discreteness, here the distinction of in meaning is due to the difference between the sounds, and each sound in language is treated as separate and different from each other. Duality, in duality, language is organized in two levels. The first one being the physical level, where sounds are produced individually, but none of these discrete forms has any intrinsic meaning. Combination. Here, meaning is being produced with a very large number of sound combinations which are distinct in meaning. Now that I've talked a little more about what language is and some of its properties and theories, I am going to talk about the pronunciation of English, the phonetic transcription. Here we have phonetics and phonology. Phonetics studies the physical characteristics of sounds, discreteness. Phonology describes the organization of the sound system of a language. Here, there are also we also have graphemes and phonemes. Graphemes refers to a letter of the alphabet, a discrete word mark in writing or print. Phoneme is a distinctive sound in language capable of creating a distinction in meaning between two words, for example, tall and tall. Also, sounds can be voiced or voiceless. We have the international alphabet. It is a set of symbols used for representing the phonemes of all languages. The phoneme symbols are enclosed within slant brackets. Phonemes can be described as segmental and suprasegmental by the way they are combined and by the units larger than the phonemes, for example, syllables, rhythm group, and intonation phrases. Words can differ um, that differ only by one phoneme, and those are called minimal pairs. The English alphabet is made of 26 letters and 43 phonemes. Now, what is morphology? Morphology is the scientific study of forms and structure of words in a language. What is morpheme and its structure? Morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit of language, the root of a word, for example, in play, talk, walk, cry. Morpheme structure can be classified in simple, like the previous example, or complex. Morphemes can also have affixations, such as prefix or suffixes. They can be before or after a morpheme. They can either be simple or compound units. When they are compound, they have a head and a modifier. A head is the right element carrying the principal meaning, and the modifier is the left element. Stress pattern. Giving stress to the morphemes gives a different meaning. Now, how can we form morphemes? How are they formed? There are different ways to form morphemes, such as blending, or combining two separate forms to create a single new form, clipping, when a word of more than one syllable is cut into a shorter form, conversion, which is a change in the function of a word from noun to verb, verb to noun, or phrase of verb to noun. Acronyms, which is a word from the initial letters of a set of words or multi-compound morphemes. Coinage, which is the invention of new words. Borrowing, where the meaning tells us that the word is borrowed from another language and is adapted to the new one. Inflection is a process that modifies a word form in order to make a grammatical subclass by adding affixes. Now, having talked about what language is and the properties of it, and how morphemes are structured, in other words, morphology, now I'm going to talk about syntax. What is syntax? Syntax is how everything is put together, is the way words and clauses are arranged to form sentences. They help people to make their points effectively, and it also controls the pace. In order to make our points across, we need simple, compound, or complex sentences. Each one is different in the way they are arranged or ordered. There are also linkers. In sentences, the ideas can be arranged in order to give a purpose or effect. For example, it can be a loose sentence where the main point is at the beginning of a sentence, or it can be a periodic sentence where the main point is at the end of the sentence or near the point, the period. They can be classified in four categories: declarative, where a statement is made; imperative, where it gives a command; interrogative, where a question is made; and exclamatory, where an exclamation is being made. Sentences can be grammatical and ungrammatical. There are syntactic categories, which are lexical, pronouns, nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, and non-lexical, which include articles, prepositions, and more. When classified, they fall in constituents or groups and subgroups of words that go together, such as noun phrase, verbal phrase, articles, and so on. Well, this is all that I will be lecturing today, and I hope that this is more than enough information. And this will be all for my part, and here is the reference of my project, my lecture. Thank you very much, and have a great day.